Hello and welcome to the Business Success Show with myself, Mac Attram, and today I have a special guest, Adam Sinkus, and he's all the way from Florida. So he's joining us from Florida. His specialism is helping people in digital marketing, rather, helping his clients who specialize in roofing and those type of services. So he helps them to really capitalize on the use of digital marketing. So we're going to hear more about that in a moment. Regardless, if you're not in the roofing business, it doesn't matter because the principles still apply. You've got to know how to do these things and how to understand if you've got the third party doing it for you, what are the things that you must know so they do a good job for you. We know today we live in the digital world. You can't get away from social media as much as you want. You can't get away from Google because that is the daddy. So whether you like it or not, you need to be aware of these things. So, Adam, thank you for joining us on the Business Success Show. Over to you. So, Adam, tell us what you do. I hope I gave it a little bit of justice, but tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, no, you did a great job. Yeah, so I'm the managing director of My Roofing SEO, and what we do is we help companies in the home services, construction trades industry really build their digital channels. These are industries that are very tactile, so they're the people that are out knocking doors. They have canvassers. So they tend to be very tactile in how they approach marketing. They like things like newspapers and radio ads and TV ads, but we help them kind of break into that space of how do I become relevant in a digital first world, and that's that's where we're at today. So that's how we help our customers, and a little bit about what I do.
All right, thank you. How long have you been in that? How long have you been a digital marketer then, if that's the right term?
I'm going on four years officially now, but
Okay.
the principles in themselves apply in so many different spaces, right? I've been a digital junkie for my entire life,
Oh,
so I love social media and digging into technology and websites and all that stuff. So it's kind of been a passion for a long time.
when you said you've been a digital junkie all your life, the thing that popped into my mind was, what was your first computer? I know my first computer, and I won't tell you what year because it gives my age away. Actually, I'll tell you, it's 1980. It was a Commodore 64. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember those. It's a Commodore 64, very old machine. What was yours?
I had a custom built the 286 that ran on a DOS prompt. So
Yeah, the DOS prompt. I remember it well. Wow.
yeah,
There you go.
yeah. Didn't
So
even have an IBM interface over it. Just it was just a straight out DOS prompt.
yeah. Yeah, I know which one. I know what you mean. So tell us about the age we're living in now.
You-
The people who you're working with, and I presume some of them have old style websites that are doing nothing for them, and they call you in and say, "Hey, we want to get more leads. How can you help us?" So what's your process? What do you go through?
yeah. So that's an interesting question, right? The reality is that consumers are digital first now.
Hmm.
Almost 80% of the buying process happens before I even talk to somebody on the phone, right? And what does that mean? Well, that means that they've spent time on Google, they've spent time in social media, they've asked a whole bunch of their friends across the World Wide Web for recommendations, to find these companies. Then they go to their website and they start looking at their website. Is this person even credible? Do they actually have a legitimate business, or is this John who's working out of his garage and just pretending like he's knows what the heck he's doing?
Right, right, yeah.
And so the reality is that we have to think about how customers are coming to us, and it's less about digging through the yellow pages and picking up the phone, and it's more about getting in front of them in social media, getting in front of them on Google, in search analytics, right? And that doesn't mean that they're going to search John's roofing company. They're going to search roofers near me, right? And
Mm.
so how do we get you to show up for the terms that people are actually searching? And that's really what it's about. It's not about going to your customers. It's about helping your customers find you where they're already at.
I love what you said there, Adam. You said, look, 80% of the buying decisions are already made before you start speaking to them. So they've
Yeah.
checked you out, they checked out the competitors, they kind of have a feeling, oh, I might want to go with this person. And I suppose the only objection is price and deliverability and credibility and all this kind of stuff. So I love that. So let me ask you this. So what works currently now? Because I've been in business for more than 2 decades, and how we used to find clients before, how we used to advertise before, has changed dramatically with the era of social media and use of video and everything else. So what's working well for your clients currently?
So I think we need to break this down into two spaces, right? Because B2B is different than B2C, right? It's a different process, though there's some crossover. In the B2B world, being on LinkedIn is pretty much a necessity, right? You have to be there. That's where people, business leaders are searching for their next service providers, their next credible coaches and consultants, and all those people that they hire, right? You also need to be engaged in professional groups, your B2B professional groups, right? So for roofers, we're engaged in the Western States Roofing Association. We're engaged in the National Roofing Contractors Association. Not because we're roofers, but because that's where our clients are seeking information from, right? So it's about being engaged in the spaces where your B2B clients are seeking their information from. And a lot of it also is about relationships as well in the B2B space. Most of the business I do B2B starts out with a relationship, whether it be directly with the person that I'm going to engage in business with, or even referrals, because they heard from one of their friends, hey, I'm looking for a marketer, and oh, I got Adam, he's a great guy, let me connect you, and that starts a conversation, right? So that's the B2B world, and so social is a very important part of that, but having a really solid website
Mm,
is also going to be an important part of that too, because why? Well, B2B has a little more risk involved with it when they pick a service provider for any kind of services that they're looking for. And so having a website that makes you look credible, has information on it, is regularly updated, is something that these people are looking for when
right.
they pick service providers, because they need to ensure that they're trusting their million, 5 million, $10 million business with you. They need to make sure that the risk that they're putting their business in is worth the person that they're putting in front of that risk.
I love the strategy you said about I go where my potential clients are. And I'll tell you why, Adam. There's so many, as a business coach, there are people who come to me and say, Mac, I'm not getting any clients. I'm not closing. And I'm saying, and I have to go back to the minutiae to say, okay, let's really tap into your niche. What is your niche? Who is your niche? Well, everybody will buy from me. Well, that is one of the big talkers. Tell
No.
us about it. Tell us about that, because I can speak about that till I'm blue in the face. That you've got to know who you're speaking to. Then you're going to know where they hang out, what they like, what they don't like, how you're going to speak to them, what their language is. Go tell us a little bit about that, Adam.
Yeah. So, yeah, if you're first of all, my favorite phrase is, if you're trying to market to everybody, you're actually marketing to nobody. Nobody at all. But it comes down to this, right? So first of all, understanding who your clients that you already have are, right? This is where I tell everybody to start. Go look at your client list, go look at every sale you've had in the last year or 5 years, and put them into buckets of who they are and where did they come from, what
Mm,
do they do, what industry are they in, how big are they, whatever buckets are appropriate for your business, but
right.
bucket your current list. That will start your path. Then I tell them, focus on the biggest two buckets that you have. These are your two primary niches,
Mm,
right? So if you have 10 people in bucket A, 6 people in bucket B, and 3 people in bucket C, Focus on A and B. That's the majority of your clients. Those are the people that are already coming to you, that already trust you. So that's where you start. Now you can go look at your client list and go, well, what do they like? What are their businesses like? How many employees do they have? How much revenue do they make? Do they do this type of marketing? Do they do that type of marketing? What social platforms are they on?
Mm.
What kind of things do they search on the internet? These are all things that help clue you into who they are, and will help put you in front of them from not only a space but a message perspective as well, because this is what people often forget, right?
Mm.
Understanding my avatar isn't just about getting in front of them in their space, but it's about putting a message in front of them once I'm in that space that speaks directly to them. Can
Right.
you write a message that speaks to everybody but feels like I'm only speaking to you?
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And I suppose the tighter that bucket is, that grouping is, the easier you feel like you're dealing with roofers and these type of building service providers, and you can
Mm-hmm.
talk their language. You can talk about the hammer or this tool or that tool or this thing, and starting very early, having customer complaining a certain way. You can use all that language, but if you're talking to everybody,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. So I love that. Thanks for that. Um, what the So someone says, I've got loads of followers, but I've got no business. I've got no clients. And I'm thinking, okay, you've got loads of followers. So what is going on? What is going wrong, really? Someone's got tens of thousands of followers, but not making any money. What's going on? What's wrong?
So this is the raving fan strategy, right? So it comes down to. Number one is I would rather have 10 raving fans than 1,000 followers every day of the week. Why? Because raving fans are buying from you. Followers are just people in the world
Mm,
that have no inclination or no reason to buy from you, right? And this is the fallacy you see on social media all the time. They're like, follow my page, follow my page, follow my page, right? And that's great to get some follow numbers, because follow numbers do impact credibility.
mm,
But at the end of the day, if I have 10,000 followers that are that aren't in the roofing, restoration, home services, and construction industry, well, they're really not doing me any good, because I'm not messaging to them and they're not buying from me,
right.
right? So I always tell people, focus on building raving fans. How do you focus on building raving fans? Well, first of all, is you need to build messaging that is strategically engaging them as a customer, right? So asking questions, having clear call to actions, driving them to places like your website, your other social channels, to seek more information from you, right? Second of all, is you need to figure out and position yourself to be their hero when they're in need, right?
Mm,
And so, what do I mean by that? People don't buy just to buy, they buy out of necessity to solve a problem, right?
right.
So,
Yeah.
if I can be their Superman when
Hmm.
the world is crumbling down in front of them in this problem,
Yeah.
then I'm going to create a raving fan out of them as long as I can solve that problem for them. Right. So, how do I position myself? Well, that's messaging about common problems that people have. This is about talking about, roofers. Often I talk about, social media strategy with roofers, because they see the value in places like Facebook, because they're like, well, we get a ton of business from Facebook, but we ran an ad and we got no clicks on it. Right. Well, okay, why did that happen? Well, you didn't target, you weren't messaging the right thing, whatever the reasons was. So we give specific messaging to specific problems,
Mm,
so that we feel like we're talking to people and we can come in and be their hero. They go, oh yeah, my roofing SEO, they talked about that, and they showed us how to solve that problem, right? So now I go to them because they're going to be my hero, they're going to be my Superman to save the day at that moment.
wow, I like it. That's a nice explanation. And so, for those of you listening in right now, it's Adam Sinkus here at the Business Success Show. Who do you need to be the hero to? They've got a problem, they've got a challenge. You come along and say, I have this for you. And It will help you to alleviate your pain, your problem, your challenge, and you can have an easier life and easier business. Who do you need to be the hero for? What group of people? And I love what you just said there. Tell us, Adam, what is a digital brand strategy? Reason why I ask is people go out there, they see this company doing this, they see this influencer doing it, and they just copy willy
Mhm.
nilly, right? Without knowing what they're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so digital brand strategy, right? So let's break this down, right? So there's a couple things there, right? So first of all, it's about where you're at, so understanding first of all where my customers at and being there, right?
Hmm.
The next piece is what do I need to support where I'm at, right? So what other pieces do I need in play? So if all my customers are coming from Facebook and Instagram, well, I probably still need to have presence on Twitter. I still need to have presence on LinkedIn. I still need to have a website. I still need to have a Google My Business page, so I still need to have all these other things, though they may not be primary drivers. I may not do a ton with them. What else do I need to have so that I can stay relevant in front of people, right?
Right.
Um, and then we look at what content are you putting out, right? And there's website content, which is very, sales, typically very sales driven content, right? I'm calling them to buy my services, right? Then there's blog content, which is more in that informative space. There's service pages and service based content. I
Right.
help roofers solve, with social media strategy so that they can go beyond, spend more time on roofs, and I can make sure that they're getting in front of their customers, right?
Hmm.
So, you know, and then it's thinking about how you're positioning your content, right? So this is the other piece. This is the piece where most people get lost.
Hmm.
They put out whatever's on the top of their mind today,
Yeah.
right? And that's great if you're running a personal account. It's
Hmm.
phenomenal, right? Because it typically leads to really relatable content that people tend to like. It goes back to this likes and follows thing, right? But as a business, you need to put out content that drives people through a process to buy from your business, right? And so there's tons of models out there. We use consideration, awareness, consideration, decision. I just like the simplicity of it.
What is that awareness? Tell us
Yep.
about that awareness.
Yeah. So when you're thinking about your potential clients, you're
Mm.
bringing them through three stages of buying, right?
Right.
So I need to make them aware of my brand. I need them to understand who my brand is, what we represent, who we're about.
Right.
Um, I need them to start considering what products and services I offer that
Mm.
might be a fit for their business,
Right.
right? So this is a discovery phase, right? We're starting to create interest that, hey, okay, I need help with my social media. I need help with my website. I need help with a logo or graphic design work. We're starting to kind of put all that stuff in. The last phase is that decision phase. This is where they decide who they're going to work with. Are they going to work with you or a competitor?
Right.
Right? This is when they're ready to buy.
Hmm.
And so our goal is to move people through those three stages and get them to choose us as who they're going to buy from
Right.
versus a competitor. And
Right.
so we have to sculpt our messaging as a business to include all of those phases. And depending on where your business is at, right, depends on how you move through that. And this is where the strategy piece comes in. And a well-established business needs to mix in all three of those types of content into their content strategy in a week. Where a brand new starting out business
Hmm.
needs to move through those in more of a linear fashion to start off with,
Right.
right? Because and so every business is a little bit different in how they move through it, but you have to have a clear strategy, a clear goal. And the goal can't be just to put out social posts and get likes and followers. The goal has got to be something that's going to drive your business forward. This is the other mistake that people make in marketing is they go, well, I need marketing. Somebody told me I need marketing, but they have no idea what that marketing should actually be doing for them from
Yeah.
a business perspective.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have you had any? Thanks for sharing that, by the way. Have you had any situations, Adam? And I'm sure you have. That's why I ask. Of speaking to potential clients, these prospects, and they say, "Oh, Adam, we can do that ourselves. We can post here, we can do all that kind of stuff," and you can see clearly it's not working, but they are resisting to work with an expert like yourself.
All the time, right? So like every industry, there are, I call them the bottom dollar chasers, right? These are the people that, are advertising the 4.99 websites. The I can build you a website for free, you just pay hosting. You see it all over social media all the time. And the reality is yes, they can build you a website. Yes, they can, they can do all the stuff that they say they can do, but they don't do it strategically. They don't do it with a background in business or marketing. They're doing it purely from I can make you something shiny. And so what I find is I don't try and sway people away from those. If that's the solace that they've made, that this makes sense for my business now,
Yeah.
cool. You go do that. Here's my information. Let me know when you're ready. Here's the next steps that I think you're going to need after that. Right. So I don't try and push them on that product or that I'm going to go fix whatever this person might screw up. Right.
Mm.
I just lead myself into, well, here's the next steps after that. And here's how I can help you achieve those next steps. Yeah. And so it's, when we think about it from a marketing perspective, we're never going to beat the overly frugal people,
True. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They've made a mindset that they're going to be as frugal as possible
Yeah.
in this, and there's plenty of different reasons. It could be budget constraints, it could be time restraints, it could be, that they don't see a value in it, which, um the reality is people still even in this day don't see value in websites, because they're like, well, I'm going to put a website up and nobody's going to go visit it. Well, it's because they didn't put the right website and so many other factors, right? So you're always going to be fighting these gremlins, so to speak, right? The key is to show them what else they can get from you
Mm.
once they've overcome that gremlin. Or in the case of a recent client, I put a bid in almost 7 months ago for them, and they chose another developer. And here we are, about 5 months later, my phone rings and they go, help. And, so, we help them through the challenges that they had. And, and now as a result, now we're their go-to marketing company, so it's, so sometimes just by positioning yourself and not being defensive about it, right? Not attacking that they're never going to succeed if they don't use your product,
Yeah.
often sets you up for better long-term success with those people.
Love that. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. The we live in the advent of not only social media but video.
Mm-hmm.
Are you helping your clients with video? And if so, what's working, what's not working? And again, it's another digital. It's another way of marketing. But again, I'm sure the same principles apply. Whether you're using yellow pages or video or using social media. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, video is so important. It's something I encourage all my clients to do, and use in different ways. It really depends on how we're implementing it within a strategy for them. But podcasting is a huge opportunity to market your business. Definitely love that. It's a great way to create stupid amounts of content that
Mm-hmm.
is easy to repurpose in all kinds of spaces.
True.
um Also, TikTok is huge. Like everybody knocks TikTok for
Mm.
being this, well, my 14-year-old's on TikTok, right? But there is a lot of business happening due to TikTok. If you haven't heard of him, Well and Septic Life is one of my favorite creators on TikTok. He runs a well and septic company in North Carolina, and he talks about his business, how he treats employees, leadership, challenges that he has on his TikTok. And he's going to probably bridge pretty close to 1.5 million followers by
Talking
the
about wellness, we're talking about wells and septic tanks. Really?
yes, really. He's
Wow.
gonna he's gonna probably hit 1.5 million followers by the end of the first quarter this year,
Good for him.
or for next year. Yeah, but can you imagine what 1.5 million followers could potentially do for your business? Like, we're not talking 1,000 followers. This is the one. This is the few exceptions to when followers matter, right?
That's
But
right.
he's got such a huge awareness of his business out there. Well, guess what? He becomes now the go-to for people in his community. He only serves a local community because he can
Oh,
only
wow.
drive his equipment so far.
Yeah.
Um, but he's think about the level of awareness that he has in his community because of that reach,
Yeah. He's
right?
always going to be in demand. He's
Exactly.
in that local area with that number of people who are actually listening, watching what he's doing. Yeah, I see that. Fantastic. And I'm glad you mentioned TikTok. And again, someone like him, you'd have thought that maybe he'll be on Facebook, but
He is.
he's on Facebook as well, right? But
Yeah, he's
TikTok's way
everywhere,
better. Right, 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 right.
you know. And I don't always push people to say you need to be everywhere all the time, right? Because the reality is we are business owners, we have businesses to operate. You need to be present on the spaces where your clients are coming from,
That's the important message.
right?
Very.
And you should have a presence everywhere.
Mm,
But if you have to choose, if you only have a half an hour a day to spend on social media, spend a half an hour a day and focus on the platforms where most of your clients come from. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Don't try and be everywhere all the time with 800 posts.
mm,
I tend to tell most of my clients, unless you have time to manage a Twitter feed all day every day, don't spend a whole lot of time on Twitter. The average post lives like 6 minutes, which means you
wow.
need to post between 20 and 40 times a day to be relevant on the platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
So where like Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, I can post once a day and go back and engage some comments
Hmm.
and be considered relevant on any one of those platforms.
Okay, great. I've got one more question for you, Adam. I love what you said so far. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure it's giving people food for thought and as to what they maybe they need to consider what they're doing in terms of their digital marketing. And the question I have for you is this: what are maybe two or three of the biggest mistakes business owners are making in regards to their internet strategy, their digital marketing strategy? What are two or three of the biggest mistakes they're making? Which is actually in a fool's economy, it's actually they losing money, not making money.
Yeah, no, this is a great question. So I'm gonna hit this in three different approaches, right?
Okay.
So we're gonna talk website.
Okay.
Number one problem I see is you go to a website and there's no clear uh, messaging about what they do, who they help, and how they help them.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you have to be very, very clear in your messaging. And it needs to be easy for people to find. When they click on your website, it should be very, very clear, very, very simple for them to understand what you do and how you could help them.
Got it.
I mean, it really is that simple. From a social media perspective, social posts have no strategy to them, right? There's no path that people can follow. There's no rhyme or reason to what you're posting
Mm.
from day to day. You're not leading people to continue to follow your content. You're grabbing them for this post today and maybe a post a month from now and a post a couple weeks after that, instead of walking them through. I'm running a series right now on some of the flamboyant marketing tactics that some of these like course creators and coaches use, like the outrageous offer, like I can make your business grow to six figures in 30 days. And so I'm running a series on that and I'm leading people down a path, right? So I introduced it. I'm going to talk about a couple of different pieces to it, and then how they can use that ethically to market their own business, right? And so now we walk down a story, right? So that's the second piece. The third piece that I see people making a mistake on is they think they need SEO. In reality, they just need a clear strategy for their overall marketing.
Mm.
The buzzword is SEO. I need SEO for my website. No, your website just needs a clear content strategy. You just you need to make it clear what your company does, how it does it, provide information, provide resources for people. There's just no overall strategy laid out. How do I tie my social into my website? So having an overall strategy to work towards a singular goal,
Mm.
or a couple of goals, even, depending on the client, is important, and everything has to be pointed in that direction.
You heard it here first, Adam Sinkus. Now, Adam, for those who want to get hold of you, they want to connect with you, what's the easiest way for them to learn more from you or get hold of you?
So you can hop on over to our website, myrooferseo.com. If you go to myrooferseo.com/find us, you can get our free marketing checklist. It's a great way to get started to figure out what you need to work on and what you're doing well. I'm also rampant on LinkedIn and Facebook. He's pretty easy to find there, at Adam Sinkus. And you can hop over to thewinningtactics.com, which is my podcast, where we help small business owners with actionable insights that they can use to move their business forward. So those are probably the three best ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Well, it's been a great pleasure to have you here on the Business Success Show. For those who are listening in, watching in, subscribe, like, share, send a good message about Adam and what he's doing. And we will catch up very, very soon. Adam, I want to say thank you very, very much for being here, for spending time with us, for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and your experience so people can have a better experience in regards to digital marketing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to speaking to you very, very soon.
Thank you.